Stephen Phillips, you say we not gods. That's what's up, brother. I appreciate your input. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for that correction, brother. Thank you for letting me know you're not. I wanted to put that on there because I know I could bait y'all in. You feel me? But the thing about when people tell me things like that, only human beings are very interesting. Because human beings spend so much time trying to prove to other human beings that they're not that powerful. Like we spend a lot of time telling people how powerful that they aren't. You know what I'm saying? We don't spend a lot of time telling people how powerful they are. You feel me? Like, we made up a word called God. And we say, you're not this God thing that we just made up as a word that represents this power. Don't ever think that you'll have this much power. We're always trying to check each other. And it's funny because I would think that only God would have that power. And so, and my silly brain start thinking, man, you know, to tell a person that they're not a God, you must be a God. It's just, because I would think that only God could do. I don't know. I don't think man has that much power to tell somebody what they're not, if that's the case. But you must be a God telling me what I'm not, because how could you make it so? How do you have that infinite wisdom to know what's not? But I don't know, man. I just think about things in that capacity. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're so powerful that we're always trying to limit our power. And so the reason why I think that a lot of men stay corrupted is because nobody tell them what their power is. Black men in America especially, we're always told that we're not that powerful. Don't be that powerful. Don't exalt yourself. Don't give yourself this title. And the people who run in the world, they just prove it. They just prove it. I was always taught that God is power and force. So I think that before you tell somebody what they're not, you should ask somebody, what do they mean by what they're saying? Because we may always use the same language, but we don't all have the same understanding and interpretation of what that language means, right? If I grew up, you know what I mean, in the time of Yahweh and I spoke Aramaic, right, words would have a different interpretation and meaning, especially upon the context of the time and the people, geographical location, right, in which we lived in. But now we live in a time in 2025. So if a person say, I am God, what does that mean? How did you grow up? What is the semantics in which you believe around that language? Right? Who is God to you? Interesting. So I just think that, you know, we always want to influence people and tell people what they are and what they aren't. But I think it's more important that when we see a person belittling themselves and making themselves lesser, then that's when we should step in. Because a Christian ain't got no problem with reciting the words, we niggas. You know what I'm saying? Bitches ain't shit. Be turning that up. You feel me? Niggas ain't shit. Be turning that up. But we guys, whoa. So just something to think about. Just something to think about. I think there's one that actually has a much more detrimental an effect in the way that we perceive and act as a people. But yeah, just for clarity, in case you didn't know, I am a God, dog. You feel me? Full God body, full force, full-fledged. And I can prove it in no limited time because I can take something in my mind and bring it into reality. And that's God power. I am not the God. I am not your God. But I am my Father's son. That's all I'm saying. Just a reflection of him. You know what I'm saying? I love my pops. You feel me? People see me, they like, boy, you look just like your father, man. Yeah, just like him. Out here creating things. You know what I'm saying? You probably didn't know that you had that God power. You know what I'm saying? Early Christians knew they had that God power. They talked about that God power being within. You know what I mean? Go study some of them ancient Ethiopian Christians, man. Just you know, just go deep in the books or something. Anyway, man, again, I was saying, like, once you get to my level, they don't want you to talk like this because they don't want you to have influence over the way people think, right? They don't mind you becoming massively influential if you are ignorant. But if you do not go along with the get along, then they have a problem. Yes, sir, Brother Stephen. Then they have a problem. You feel me? So I don't want to see black men know themselves. I don't care if you call yourself you don't call yourself a God or not. I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to love you regardless. You feel me? But I'm going to always see the God within you. That's what I'm going to see when I see my brother. I'm going to see that God, though. When I see my brother, I see God. When I see black people, I see God. I don't know about you, but that's what I see. And that's why every people have that God look like them. So it's reflected in who you are. One of the biggest problems with our people is that we have other people that show us who we are because they control our movies, our media, our music. And they never want us to see ourselves in power. That's why we have limited shows and movies where young black boys have genius and are heroes and are powerful. They don't want you to believe like that. They don't want you to develop that schema of self to identify with those things, because then you just start ruling. Their whole existence is based on how do we keep you down. So anyway, once I get my real blueprint and you build, man, you can be one of the powerful ones, you feel me, out here. And then you have that ability, you understand me, to be able to make money as a man. I think that what most people want is freedom. And, my goal is always to have freedom myself, right? When I started off, money was never the motivation. I started off first thinking, how can I change the world? Right? And I remember I would tell people that I want to reach the whole entire world. And I want to be a key that helps enlighten the masses. And, I talk like this and people be like, this brother's different. But I believe people when they believe themselves. Yes, I wrote a book. I wrote several books, by the way. One of my older books, and there's a book I'm working on right now. It's going to be an amazing book. It's a bestseller already. It's one of my favorite books. It's one of my favorite books. You should come to the Renaissance tour. I need everybody to come. Y'all should join the community. You feel me? Comment, tour, join the community now. Make sure you get access. I look at this like how I think this is our generation's opportunity to have our Million Man March moment, where we really come together at unity and we get clarity on what the future is, right? And what we're going to do moving forward, what to be a part of, right? What are the new blueprints, right? And how we're going to move as a people. So when I say like save yourself, right? I'm not telling you, I'm not going against your savior. I'm not going against your religion or anything of that nature. What I'm saying is the same thing that a doctor would tell you if you come in sick. A healer would tell you if you come in sick. He's going to give you the medicine, the routine. He's going to tell you what's wrong with you and give you a diagnosis and say, this is what you need to do to save yourself. And our people are sick. Our people need help, right? We're in a time of great prophecy. We're in a time of great end and a new beginning of things. And how do you save yourself? We have to unify. We have to operate with new systems. We have to create our own parallel systems. You understand me? Like, we have to create new models that we move forward. We can't listen to the same music. We can't eat the same food. We can't think the same way. I'm going to tell you one thing that's so important, and this is the thing that I want the tour really to do for you. I want people to make sure that they get clarity and they know what they're a part of, because I remember when the future felt like we would beg for the future to come. We used to beg for the future. When is the future going to come? When is the flying cars and the robots? And when are we going to get all of these things? And now we're begging for the future to slow down. We're saying, wait a minute, it's too much all at once. Can it slow down? I mean, we were saying that up to 2020, and then after that, we wanted everything to please slow down. Because it's almost like you haven't had a time to really think in like 5 years. I ain't talking about just regular thinking, reacting. You've been reacting for the last 5 years. And see, if you were really thinking and you really had that clarity, you would be a master of these tools today. But they're coming so fast that you don't even have ideas for these tools, which is why we called it a renaissance and not a revolution. Because so much has changed, but how much have we built? And so when you have your blueprint and you go through your reawakening and you get back to this clear point where you feel like, man, I'm ahead of things now. I own and control it. I know how to operate. I know what I'm a part of. I see the blueprint. We have the unity, right? We go through that rebirth, that we reestablish that feeling that we used to have, because we get glimmers of it, but it's not consistent. And the reason is because we don't have a vision. What's the vision? I'm not saying it's going to come from me. That's why I call upon my brothers, because I want intellectuals of all kind to be there. It's not about me. You know what I mean? This is a moment for the culture, for us, the real culture, high functioning culture. I'm not talking about that low level shit. It's that moment where we get to build and master our future, because our generation hasn't had that mass unity movement and that movement, that moment in time yet. Previous generations, they had the Million Man March. We haven't had that moment. We haven't had our Renaissance moment. And I think that moment is now. Anyway, I gotta go. Y'all have a peace and a blessed day.